Build. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. Yes, we are here live at the Build studio in New York City. The Code is the brand new CBS drama about the military's brightest minds who tackle the toughest legal challenges facing the U.S. Marine Corps. The show premiered just last week to some major numbers and can now be caught Mondays at 9 on CBS or whenever you feel like it on CBS All Access. Joining me here shortly, he stars as Major Trey Ferry, an eloquent and wise superior officer working for the prosecution. The great Ato Essandoh is back. How we feel about that, everybody? I'm excited. Are you excited out there in internet land? Kate's excited. She was the last one to stop clapping. That's how I know she's excited. We're going to bring him out in just a moment. But first, I believe we have a peek at the show. So please, by all means, let's go ahead and run that clip. Ladies and gentlemen, make a crazy amount of noise. Ato Essandoh is right over here. Hey. Do it up. It's right there.
What's up, everybody, how you doing?
There he is. How you doing, man?
I can't complain.
That's
Your
fantastic.
sneaker game is tight.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
These are my old faithfuls. I got these a while ago.
Those are good. Those
and they
are good.
like a bottle of fine wine. They seem to be getting better with age. They're just getting a little weathered.
Yeah.
But still maintaining color. There's a texture in the toe now that I like.
The suede Pumas are still fly. I'm telling you.
I sincerely appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
Especially when you're wearing very nice shoes. To comment on my moderately nice shoes, it means a lot to me.
This is my business cash.
I like it.
You know what I mean?
It's a damn good look, I'll tell you right now.
I appreciate that too.
Welcome back to this show. It is so much fun to have you on every time, and I'm really excited for you, man. This show, it just premiered. I was looking at it. It blew up. People are loving this show. A lot of people turned out to watch it. It's got to be a really great feeling. You put a lot of time and effort into something, and people really dig it and click with it.
We did. I feel like it's a great show. I've been lucky to be a part of a lot of great shows. This one is built by people that I've worked with in the past. Craig Sweeney, the creator. I worked with him on Elementary a lot, and I didn't know that he created this show. And so when he came over to do this, I was one of the first people that they thought of, and we had a conference call, and he explained what the concept behind the Code was. I was a little worried that it was just going to be like a sort of like an everyday procedural, but of course, then I knew it was Craig, and what he wants to put together is something that is a little beyond, which I thought was very interesting, and I wanted to explore myself.
Do you remember? Yeah, because that's the thing. Looking at you've done a ton of stuff, man. You've been in a lot of great stuff and you've popped into a lot of procedurals as well. Yeah. Way back in the day, you were on Law & Order for a couple episodes, Criminal Intent. You're on Chicago Med right now. And so I imagine he had to have said something to you when he came to you with the Code that was like, this is going to be a different experience. This is going to scratch a different itch for me creatively.
Yeah, because there's something about the legal aspect of the Marines and the military, something that's fascinating, but also going home with these people and seeing what kind of person would sort of dedicate their life to a Spartan existence like these people live. All of these people that you see that we're portraying could be, sort of white shoe lawyers working for $700,000 a year, but they've chosen to go into the military. And so it's nice not to just see them in action, but to see what kind of person and what they're dealing with the everyday human life at home, which I thought was really cool. So once he said, yeah, you go home with these people and you see who these people are, and I was like, that's really interesting.
That's what got you into the show, man. Was it one of those things where he reached out and he was like, we thought of you for this character kind of thing? Or we thought of you for this show kind of thing?
They liked me for the show. I mean, I didn't realize that Craig, I played this cat, Alfredo Lamosa on Elementary, and I didn't realize that Craig had written some of my lines, and I loved the sort of language behind it. And so he's taken Trey, my character, Major Trey Ferry, and he's putting these little twists of phrases that I love to sort of play with as an actor. And so he sort of started peppering those in a lot of the episodes that he wrote with me, and I just love that. I love the exercise of playing with language, especially this heightened sort of legalistic military jargon thing. It's insane how these people speak.
Well, that's what's so funny to me, because I saw a post on I think it was on Instagram that you had your scrubs and your beard back on for Chicago Med, and I was like, I always thought like either a doctor or a lawyer on television is most likely to have the dialogue filled with words you never say.
Right,
So,
right.
like, is that something that comes easy to you, or like?
It's not. You know, the doctor actually is a little bit easier because there's always one big word, like whatever the disease is, that is hard. But the rest of this stuff is stuff that you understand as a human being having your own body, right?
You do all have bodies.
Right. Yes. Yes. Hopefully you do. Right. But the legal stuff is all cerebral. There's nothing sort of physical to attach it to. So it's all conceptual. And that stuff, as an actor, you're always trying to make sense of it to be able to tell the story. But if you read it on a page and you're not a lawyer, it just doesn't make sense. That's why you never, everybody just clicks the, when it says subscribe, Apple, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like nobody actually reads the legalese. We just click okay because it's all in legalese and none of us can understand it. But there are people in the world that speak like that. And that's just fascinating to me.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Have you now learning through your years in procedurals, but specifically, especially this show, have you started to see through the code in the Matrix? Are you understanding some of it yet? I mean, you have to try to at least get someone to help you understand a little bit of it so you can deliver it.
Yeah.
But like, where are you? Have you read the license agreement for iTunes?
No, I haven't.
No,
I still
nobody
can't.
has,
I still can't understand any of that. Right?
That's next level.
Yes, that's the next level stuff. So I'm between the two pills of the Matrix right now. I'm still choosing. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm almost there.
You're mid-pill.
Yes,
You're
mid-pill.
really. You haven't committed, but you're right there.
Right.
I read somewhere that it's on the internet, so who knows if it's true, but I think it was that you.
It's always true.
It's always true.
Dude,
this,
come on.
This feels likely. I feel pretty good about this one. That you back in the day you used to write a lot, and you also did a lot more stage work. You were I want to say Macbeth. Is that right?
I did Macbeth.
You did Macbeth. Yes, there we are.
Yes.
So you did that.
The Scottish play. First of all, you're supposed. Well, this is not a theater, but it's bad luck to say that play's name in a theater. There's something you have to do.
Does a studio count?
Studio doesn't count. That's why.
Okay, we're all fine. Don't worry.
Okay, good. So sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's quite all right. That's a very important thing for me to know.
Just next time you're in a theater.
Just can't go around willy-nilly just dropping that name.
No, say Scottish play just to be safe.
Holy crap. Do you
Yeah.
know the origin of that?
No.
Fantastic. All right. The thing I was going to ask is, do you ever find yourself leveraging any of the skills I imagine you picked up then when you encounter difficult dialogue and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's I had a lot of vocal coaching when I was learning how to be an actor, and with this, the challenge was all that aforementioned legalese. So I went with another voice coach just for a couple of lessons. His name is Andrew Wade. He's well known in the acting and theater community, but I do a lot of warm-ups. I stick a piece of like cork in my mouth and go over the lines, because what we want to be able to do is enunciate and make everything clear and sharp. And so putting a crutch in your mouth and trying to say the lines and warm up strengthens the musculature of your mouth, and then you get used to being able to say that. So then when you take out the crutch, the things become a lot easier for you, because I was having a lot of difficulty getting through all of that jargon in one sort of like fell swoop, precise sort of execution. The way the people in the Marines speak is very specific, it's very direct, and I'm amazed when I see them get through an entire line of text, because they're incredible in the way they execute how they speak. And it's very precise, it's very succinct, and it's full of jargon, full of acronyms. And I go, do you guys really speak like that? And they're like, yes, we do. And I'm like, okay.
They respond exactly that way.
Yeah.
And so was that part of the process when coming onto the show? Did you go hang out with them for a little bit? Did you have like a bunch of like hours of like game footage that you were watching of them talking in a courtroom? Like,
we have a military advisor named Sergeant Major Deaver, and this is a born and bred Marine. This guy eats and sleeps Marines. He gets up, he does push-ups every day. Anytime you see him, I don't care what's going on, you say, hey, Sergeant Major, how's it going? He goes, outstanding. And he's got that look in his face. He's the nicest guy, but he's done some stuff and he's been some stuff. And so you've seen, you can already see how he carries himself. And that was a great inspiration for all of us on the set, because we wanted to be able to carry ourselves in that way.
That's also an incredible perspective, too, that he's got a perspective that I am grateful that I don't have. Because I imagine what he's gone through.
Yes.
But it'd be like, how are you today? And it's always outstanding.
Outstanding.
Puts you in check.
Yes.
You're like, yeah, it is outstanding.
It is, yeah. I didn't get my line, but you just came back from Afghanistan. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly. Puts it
yes,
all in check.
Yes, yeah.
Before we get too far away from it, I couldn't figure out. I assume it's because you're very, very busy.
Yes.
Because you're on these 2 shows. But do you miss writing and stuff like that?
I do. I wrote a play called Black Thing long time ago. It was about an interracial relationship, and it was really funny. And I used to do a lot of these like one-act festivals with my buddy Joshua James, who's now a screenwriter. But I do miss the writing. I do miss not only writing, but then seeing how that writing hits an audience as the person who created it, and hearing people either laugh or cry or maybe not even like it. There's nothing like it. So I want to at some point get back to that. But I'm too busy.
Is that really? Am I right? Because I imagine you're on 2 major shows back and forth.
Yeah, I can't complain, but it's busy.
But it's a hectic time.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah. It's a fervent time. It's a good problem to have. It's good to be busy. I can't believe that I do this. I come from a West African family, and the joke is all you can be as a West African first generation is either a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or as the joke goes, I can't remember the comedian, but the 4th option is a disgrace to the family, right? and it's a Nigerian comedian that says it, but it's so true. But I got to be able to do this and have some success in it. And so now my family in Ghana looks back at me and says, that's great. But like, I'm weird. They don't know what to do with me, you know? Internet is to be trusted. You went to school to Cornell for chemical engineering. Chemical engineering. Yes.
So you started off on one of those 3. You were like, this is the path, is what I have to do.
Yes.
And when did you jump over and say, all right, I've got my degree, I've done this, my safety net's there. Yeah. Mom and Dad, give me a minute. I've got to see if I'm good at this thing that I really like. Like, how did you have that conversation to make that choice?
It was a hard conversation. I mean, I got dared by my girlfriend at the time at Cornell. It was a dare, yes, to do a play. And I did the play, and I could not believe that this is what people did with their lives. You know, I loved movies and television growing up, but I never thought about acting as a thing. Do you know what I mean? And then I was like, oh my God, there's an audience, and look, they're laughing at me, and this is amazing. And so I graduated, and then I wrote a mission statement for myself, sort of like Tom Cruise in that movie, right? And I sent it to all my friends, and all I said was, I want to be able to look back at my life when I get to 40, because I thought 40 was old. I'm 47 now. 40 was old, right? And I was like, I want to be able to look back at my life and say I didn't give up on anything that I really wanted. And the acting kept coming back to me. So I said, just let me try after work to go to an acting class and see what that's about. And so maybe a couple of acting classes, I called my folks after a while, after I sort of made the decision. I say, hey, Mom and Dad, I want to be an actor. And they're like, what? You want to be a what? An actor, a what? You know what I mean? And it took a lot to explain it to them. But the thing was, when I finally convinced them that that's what I wanted to do, it was pretty early on. I mean, for West African parents, they were quite amenable to it, right? They were like, okay, well, let's see what happens. Right. One of the nicest things that happened to me was my first series I did was a series called Copper on BBC America. And I brought my mom on set, and I was introducing her and everything. She takes me aside, and she goes, I'm so proud of you, obviously, but like your dad and I have been so scared, but we didn't want to say anything to you because we knew how hard you worked and we were proud of you. We were going to support you in any way, but like we've been so scared. And of course, I'm like, oh, Mama, I love you so much. You know what I mean? But like, it's such a nice thing to say. They never got in my way. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. My brother just sent me a video of them watching The Code, and it brought tears to my eyes because they're in Ghana. My brother's also in Ghana with his family, and he got he got the first episode of The Code, and they're just sitting there watching with just big smiles on their face, and it was. Yeah,
that's a beautiful moment, man.
I was like, oh man, yeah.
Oh my gosh, are you gonna go back to see him?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to see him. It's my parents' 50th anniversary in May.
Hold for applause.
Yes,
50 years,
please.
come on.
Mom.
Because you know Mom's watching.
You know she's watching.
Congratulations.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yeah, so I've got to get back,
Wow.
It's been a couple of years, so I got to get back and visit them.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
I'm watching my clock dwindle down. I got a million questions I want to talk to you about. Don't worry, we've still got some time. There's a couple of things I really wanted to talk to you about. I know you can't tell me about the major movie that you're in.
No, I can't.
We can say the title of the movie.
You can.
Okay. Oh, I can.
Yes.
Can you not even say that?
No, I don't think I can. I'm kidding. I can.
You're in the Phoenix Saga. You're in the next
X-Men
X-Men movie.
Phoenix.
X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Yes, coming up. I can't speak too much more. No,
And
only
I won't
because
ask you.
Sam Jackson will pull up in a black van and just beat the crap out of me.
Certainly won't. And me, I don't even know if you can answer this much, but here's what I wanted to speak to was your experience. As I said earlier, you've been in a ton of amazing things. You've been in some big stuff too. But surely this had to have been one of the largest productions or sets you had seen or witnessed or been a part of in terms of size of the team, scale of the film, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I read that Dark Phoenix saga when I was a kid in 1988, right? And that was one of those where dude, Dark Phoenix is awesome, X-Men, right? And Simon Kinberg, the director of Dark Phoenix, is a big comic nerd. So he has put his whole sort of life into this, and he's an attention to detail and a love of the supporting the story that it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Exciting.
Yeah, I was really happy to be a part of that.
That's very cool. And it's not, and I don't know which came first. I think this came first, but I could be wrong. But you've been in the Marvel family before. You did the podcast, the Wolverine podcast, The Long Night.
Yes,
which
The Long Night. Yeah.
Which is one, I think it's their first scripted podcast, and two, just a very cool thing to be a part of, to be at the forefront of that. What was that experience like? Was that a different type of approach, acting wise, and all that?
Yeah. They had this. I can't remember what the mic was called, but it's just it looks like a globe, and that mic was almost. They used it like I'm used to a director using a camera. So where they placed that mic would give your ear the distance and the motion of whoever is talking. And so there's a sort of 3D thing happening in your head while you're listening. If you do listen to the podcast, I would suggest listening to it with headphones on, because it gives you the stereophonic experience or whatever. And it was incredible just being a part of it.
Yeah, that's the thing that's so with anything Marvel, they're going to put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
And even with a podcast, there was such a space. They went to such great lengths to mix this in such a way that you are transported into this old school radio play style, but
it
modern
was incredible.
day.
Yeah. It was wonderful. I mean, we went to actual locations to get the sounds and so forth. So it was the only thing that was different was there was no camera. Wow. Yeah. So it was.
That's a trip.
I would love to do something like that again. It was a lot of fun.
That's
just
very
like
cool.
you said, radio play. It's incredible.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the old radio plays.
Yeah.
You're already. I mean, you're living the dream. We've established that. But is there a character or anything within the Marvel family that you've got your eyes set on, which is why you're not spoiling anything? You don't want to upset anybody.
Black Panther.
Black
Kidding. Too late. Oh well.
They're gonna make 10 more of those movies, man. You can still get in there
somehow. I grew up reading comics. I grew up reading Marvel. I would just love to be a part of any of those. There's a character called Moon Knight that is pretty cool. There's all these sort of deep Marvel characters that I think that if they keep pulling them out, I'm just going to keep putting my hat in and just to see if I can do at least one or two of those.
Well, that gives you the advantage, having actually read the comics.
Yes.
We're at a point where we've kind of exhausted the primary bench.
Right, yes.
So now we're going to start getting into those deep cuts.
Exactly.
That's where you shine, sir.
Absolutely.
That is it.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'll remind everybody the code. I believe it's Mondays at 9. Am I right?
9, yes, you
Nailed
are.
it. Look at that. It's Mondays at 9 tonight
Yes.
on CBS. Or you can go to CBS All Access. If you have CBS All Access, you can watch the episodes there. The first one is there already, and presumably after the next one airs, it'll be there as well. Kate,
Yes.
you're giving me the two. You're either saying peace or we have two questions. We have two questions.
Two
okay,
questions.
good. I'm still
Sweet.
learning. Here we are.
Yeah.
So we have two questions from the room. First one right over here. Go for it.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just wondering, of the various roles you've had over many different mediums, which one has taught you the most about yourself?
Oh, the one that just popped into my mind was I did Vinyl for HBO. And I played this blues singer down on his luck. And I'm a person who plays the guitar a little bit. And I got the opportunity to sort of show them that I could play the guitar and then display it on on a TV show in front of Martin Scorsese and Mick Jagger. And so I guess I bring that up because they didn't know I could play the guitar at first, and I had to convince them and sort of audition myself playing the guitar. I didn't let them say, well, you don't play the guitar, just sing. I was like, and I can't actually sing. They had somebody dub their voice in. But I was like, I am a blues fan. I grew up watching and playing and listening to the blues. At least give me a chance to show you I can play the guitar. And I did it to Martin Scorsese, and he gave it his blessing. And that just showed me, like, if you are confident that you can do something, at least ask the question and at least go for it. And if they say no, fine, but you tried. But that one, it taught me a lot about what I need to do in this business.
What in God's good name was in your head moments before you had to sit there and play in front of Martin Scorsese?
The funny, and I don't think he'll mind me saying this, but he was a little bit grumpy in the morning when he was coming, and he's such an incredible person to work with as an actor. He loves acting, right? But they had their mind set that my character would only be singing because they didn't know I could play the guitar. So it had to be run up the food chain that I could play the guitar. So he walks on set. He's like, okay, let's see what you got. Play. Right? And he goes and stomps off. And then I'm like, gulp. I start playing, and he's like, terrific. And suddenly there's a camera here, there's a camera here, there's a camera here. He's like, wow. And I was like, thank you for giving me that opportunity, Marty. But, he is Martin Scorsese, right? Yeah. So I don't know what I was thinking.
Like you're playing for Martin Scorsese.
Yeah. So
it's a lot of pressure, man.
That was a lot of pressure, but
an amazing
I'm glad
thing
I was able to,
navigate that moment.
Yes.
Like crush it, and that's so cool. Very cool story. Thank you for that. Thank you for your question. We got one more. Let's do it up. Microphone all the way in the back. Go for it.
Hi. I wanted to know, in all of the shows that you've been on, who's been your most favorite person to do scenes with, and why?
Oh, that's tough because I've worked with so many different people. One person that pops into my mind right away is Colin Donnell from Chicago Med. We had a sort of frick and frack sort of relationship on set, and I think it really came out even though we had very disparate characters. So that's who I think of immediately. I've also had the opportunity to work with some of my favorite of all time people, and I have to say, although I wasn't directly acting in a movie with her, but I got to act on stage with her, Meryl Streep. I got to act with Meryl Streep, and I got to watch her process. And we had 1 or 2 scenes together in Mother Courage and Her Children at Shakespeare in the Park a number of years ago, and I owe her a debt of gratitude because she showed me sort of like how you sort of attack and approach a role, and her professionalism and her showing up on set and always being gung-ho to try and work. That was somebody that I will never forget that experience.
That sounds phenomenal.
Yeah.
Do you miss, with all the film and TV that you're doing, do you miss the live audience doing stuff on
stage? Yeah, I really miss it, and I'm scared to get back on stage, you know what I mean, because it's been so long, but there's nothing like it. It's the immediate feedback that you get from being able to tell a story and then feeling the audience following along with you is like nothing that I've ever experienced.
And there's a very unique, intangible sort of thing that the energy that everyone just kind of clicks.
Yes.
When it's working, there's nothing like it. Yeah.
And the audience is the other character. You can't do it without them. The rehearsal's nice, but the audience is what gives it its life. So that's one day I'll get back to that.
Yeah, for sure. When you have time.
Yes.
Well, I'll say it once again. The Code, which is a fantastic show, man.
I appreciate you. Yeah.
And I'm part of the many people that tuned in to check it out. It's Mondays at 9 on CBS, or you can catch it in CBS All Access. Keep an eye out for that massive movie that he happens to be in as well. X-Men: The Dark Phoenix is coming, but you already knew that. And in the meantime, make a ridiculous amount of noise, because I had a lot of fun. I think you did too.
Yeah,
make some noise for Ato Essandoh right here for being amazing and hanging out with us.
Thanks, guys.
Come on.